The orange wave continues to wash over crypto Twitter, Memecoin right around the corner, and can the art meta help bring back life to Ethereum mints? Welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. So the Bitcoin summer narrative continues to rage on with the overwhelming success of OXBT, a free-to-mint BRC-20 token, for which if you had whitelist, you were able to claim 3,000 of them, which is currently trading for $575. It was a free-to-claim mint. You had to pay a small fee of like $12, but free to claim. And then if you managed to get this in public, which took over an hour to mint out, so you had plenty of chances, you could have spammed wallets and you would have been essentially printing money. You would have been able to claim 5,000 tokens, which is currently trading for $950. So add this to the potential that Binance is going to be listing BRC-20 tokens on their exchange, in which case, if they do that, I am incredibly underexposed to BRC-20s, but that would be very bullish news for BRC-20s. So today we're going to take a look at upcoming Ordinal projects, I keep saying BRC-20s. I did do I guess part 1 video on upcoming mints last week. I'm going to link that in the description down below, as most of them have not minted yet and you can still get whitelist. Other than that, we're going to talk about some ETH NFTs as well as Memecoin. As usual, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and if you haven't already, would you kindly hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. So first up, let's jump into BRC-20s. We have MRXC, or Meta BRC, which has garnered a ton of traction after the success of OXBT, as people are just looking for the next one that is going to cook. So if we hop onto their Twitter, you could see they've been getting a ton of impressions and interactions. Both the account and the founder have been just getting insane traction. And if we hop onto Social Blade, you could see that most of this has happened in the past week for both the main account and for the founder, who here even has days where he's gained almost 30,000 followers. So OXBT has really been a positive thing for a lot of these other BRC-20s. Now this one in particular, they are going, I guess, a different strategy. Most projects are just spamming that orange color all over Twitter, which I love that orange. Here you could see they're going for blue, which is very different. I also completely understand, because you don't just want to be copy pasting whatever OXBT is doing, but it still has less of the Bitcoin vibe to it. But with all this traction, they're clearly doing the right thing, and I really hope this one pops off, as we did get whitelist spots for it in Gorilla Labs. Next up, we have BTOC, which is a BRC-20 from the Ordinals Club, which is by Project Gojira. So they have two different collections on Bitcoin. The first one is their Dead Jiras collection, which is currently at a 0.24 Bitcoin floor. And their second one, it's still on ETH, but there is a collection on Bitcoin that is linked to it, and they will have a burn in the near future, and that is going to be the Ordinal War. Now, during a recent AMA inside of the Project Gojira Discord, Shan did say that these two collections were going to be eligible to claim their upcoming BRC-20 token, which is absolutely free to claim, which did lead to a pump in both of these collections. And if you're not holding either of these, they are going to be doing collabs with different communities, so you do have a chance to get whitelisted for that claim. They also say in this tweet that they have a major partnership confirmed, and you can also see that Shan is going to be on a Binance Twitter space with ZK Shark and Frank. So it does seem likely that Binance is going to be listing BRC-20s, and there's a really good chance that this token is one of the ones that is listed. So another huge BRC-20, especially that it's just free to claim. There is essentially zero risk. And both Shan and Frank, who are both ETH founders, well, Frank is a Solana founder, but he's moved his collection over to Ethereum. They've done a really great job at capitalizing on this whole Bitcoin NFT stuff and bringing value back to their communities. Next up, let's talk about Ordinal collections. I did want to quickly touch on BTC Bear Cubs, which I spoke about last week. However, a ton of people have been asking me how I feel this is going to perform, considering they have a very high supply of 10,000 NFTs, and it's not a free mint. Their mint price is 0.0028 Bitcoin. So in my opinion, the Bears have done a really good job with their branding and their marketing. The Genesis collection is very well known. It has a low inscription number of sub 6K. And if you look on Magic Eden, the floor is currently at like half a Bitcoin with some sales of 0.48 Bitcoin, which is above 7 Ethereum. So yes, it is a very large supply, but if you look on Magic Eden's Bitcoin exchange, there's a ton of like dumb collections that are just launching. Some of them have huge supplies, and these are being swept up all the way to 0.03, 0.05. So even if this collection only hits 0.01 Bitcoin, that's still almost a 4x from the mint price. But to me, the most interesting thing about this collection, I'm positive that a ton of other OG Ordinal collections are looking at the bears to see how their Gen 2 is going to perform. And if it does well, this is just going to be like a green light for them to launch their own Gen 2s. And it can spark a huge wave of a ton of collections dropping by notable collections. So I think a lot of people are rooting for them to do well just so they can drop their own. So I personally like the bears. I have whitelist. I'm happy I have whitelist. We got some spots in Gorilla Labs. This one is minting on June 1st, and it's going to be minting through Magic Eden. Other than that, there are some upcoming collections that I have been looking into. I haven't had a chance to talk to the teams yet, and a lot of these are like ish or, you know, wishy-washy, so I don't know how much I want to talk about. What I've been doing is going to look at things that haven't had their sales yet, or collections that are by notable people or have the support and backing by notable people. Now, one collection I feel a lot of people have just forgotten about is Bitcoin Shrooms, possibly because they just never did their sale. Another reason could be because their Discord is just closed, so a lot of people just feel left out, and it's essentially really hard for them to get whitelist. If they even can, maybe they won't be doing that big of a whitelist, and it's just going to be an auction. Also, their Twitter is kind of weird. They're pretty much just reposting on all of their previous posts. It's like they're trying to stall or they don't know what to do. I really don't understand why they haven't launched, because this is a sub 1K inscription collection. There's 210 of them. I personally believe these would go for a decent amount of Bitcoin purely because of like the art. I like the art, and they have a theme going, right? It's all these mushrooms. The art looks clean. They were really hyped, at least for a while. So I still believe in these. I think when they do launch, they will be successful. They just need to launch. Another OG collection is the Taproot Wizards. I do think they're going to do very well just because of the lore behind this collection. In order to get whitelist for this, you're going to have to go on their website, and you're going to have to enroll into Wizard School, which will make you complete different quests. I'm sure you've seen people make videos and take a shower wearing a wizard costume. If you did, it's for this collection. The founder is very well known, and the reason that they are well known is they have the largest Bitcoin transaction in Bitcoin history. Essentially, if you go to the mempool, you could see all of the past transactions. You can see all the ones that are trying to go through, and here you have all the different people trying to do the transactions. You can see it's a ton of different squares with different sizes and different colors. But what they did is they did the largest transaction. So if you look at this block where they passed their transaction, it is one giant block, which gave them their notoriety and made them very popular. So I have no doubt that their wizard collection is going to do very well when they eventually launch it. Next up, there's two collections by Ordinally. And if you don't know who Ordinally is, he's been working on Ordinals for the past 9 months with the founder Casey, who recently handed over leadership to Raf and Ordinally. So they have a Discord server called Ordinally, which is ran by both him and HO. And I just want to give a big shout out to HO, who has been teaching me so much about Ordinals, BRC-20s, inscriptions, all the technical stuff behind all of this. So thank you for essentially holding my hand through all of this. But they essentially have two collections. The first one are these monkeys. There's 21 of them. The inscription is sub 3K. They already sold. The current floor is 0.77 Bitcoin. You can see the highest sale, if we look in the activity, is 0.88 Bitcoin. However, they do have, I guess we can call it a Gen 2 drop that is upcoming. And this is going to be happening on June 3rd. And the way that this is happening, it's different than the typical collection. However, this is a special mint, as the Gen 2 is created using a signatures technique, which allows an NFT to be born off of the Genesis piece. So here you have the Genesis NFT, and if you look here, you can see they did 4 different inscriptions, and these are essentially the child pieces of the Genesis piece. So there's 21 Genesis pieces. There's going to be 84 child monkeys in total. And that sale, as I said, is happening on June 3rd. Now, the second collection that they have not sold yet is called Ordinals Gang. And I believe this one is going to go for a very high price in Bitcoin, because they have 21 Ordinal Gang NFTs that are sub 600 inscription. And if you look at them on Magic Eden, the art looks really clean. They have a theme going for them, which is these characters, same color background. And if you compare it to something like the punks, which also have a very low inscription number, but a larger supply, the punks sell for like 3 Bitcoin. So I think it's safe to assume that the Ordinal Gang is going to have at least a 1 Bitcoin price. You're not going to be able to get whitelist for this or anything. They are going to be doing an auction. But the other benefit of being part of these small OG low inscription number collections is all of these Bitcoin collections are working together and giving each other whitelist. So if you're part of a small OG collection and you're holding something worth 0.5, 1, 2 Bitcoin, you're most likely going to get a ton of whitelists. Now, before we jump into ETH, there's a couple more things that I have been tracking. The first one is cursed ordinals. Essentially, there was some bug that happened with ordinals that allowed the collection to have negative inscriptions. And don't quote me on the technicals here, but if you click one of these, you can see that the inscription number is negative, and they're currently at almost 70,000. So if you inscribe one of these, you could still be sub negative 100K. Now, this is still a gamble because Casey has said he doesn't really like what's going on here and that he's not sure if he's going to fork these and make them an official Ordinals collection. So right now you can't trade these, you can't do anything with them. However, even I've been considering minting like a random collection as cursed Ordinals in case they do make it official as a long shot, just to have sub 100K cursed Ordinals like in my back pocket. And I honestly think a lot of collections are doing this, like existing collections on Ordinals, they're secretly minting cursed Ordinals just so they have it for their community. So if they're actually added to Ordinals, they're going to be able to surprise them with an airdrop or maybe do some auctions or some raffles. Now, the other thing I'm looking at is this new BRC-721 contract. It's essentially based off of Ethereum's ERC-721 contract. And what this essentially lets you do is play with the metadata. So they're essentially going to be able to do reveals on Bitcoin the same way we see them on Ethereum. So I do think we're going to see a lot of these. We already have the founder of Dogepunks hinting, or not hinting, but pretty much saying he's going to be doing his own 721 project, which is going to be called Ordi Troops. So very interesting things happening on Bitcoin. I don't believe this is just a fad because it is on Bitcoin, which is the king of the jungle. I know we've seen a ton of chains try to do their own NFTs. We had like Aptos and a bunch other where they essentially have one NFT that pops off and then a couple others and everything else just dies down and hides in the shadows. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. I do think we're going to have like a euphoric period. We're going to have bubbles. We're going to have ups and downs, but I do think something real is happening here and people can really attach themselves to Bitcoin NFTs because it's on Bitcoin. They're not having to go out and pick a brand new chain that they're not sure is going to be around for the long haul. This is on Bitcoin. And I also know a lot of Bitcoin maxis are upset that this is happening, but the bright side here is I know a lot of ETH traders that they never wanted to hold Bitcoin. They saw no point in having Bitcoin because everything they do, all the interactions, all the DeFi, it's all on Ethereum. Now a lot of these people are going to buy Bitcoin because they want some exposure to Ordinals or BRC-20s to make money. But in that process, they're buying and holding Bitcoin. So it's essentially getting you more holders. And it's basically a Trojan horse that is converting like these Ishcoin traders and NFT traders, which are basically Ishcoins with pictures on them, to become Bitcoin holders, which I personally believe everybody should have at least a little bit of Bitcoin. Next up, I did want to touch a little bit on ETH NFTs. I do think it's important, even though all the noise is happening around Bitcoin, the same way a few weeks ago we had all the noise around Ishcoins, I still think it's important to track ETH NFTs. They're not going anywhere in my opinion, so we have to stay aware of what's going on in the market. So first up, we have captains itching their way back up close to 9 Ethereum. We did have a pretty aggressive dip all the way down, almost touching 7 Ethereum. And I personally love these dips. I bought the last 2 dips. I'm currently holding 7 captains and I will be taking profits when the big pump that I believe is coming is going to come. But I also want exposure to Memecoin. But I love these dips because it dips really fast. A whale or somebody who has a lot can come in, can list his staked captains, which cannot be bought. He stares them, so he's solo killing the floor, and then other people panic and they start to kill the floor, and the floor goes down incredibly quickly. But then as soon as they unstake, they get bought up and the floor goes back up so quickly. Both of the captains that I bought during these dips, I can currently sell them in pretty high profit. They also dropped this fake meme coin claim website. It's a fun little game where you collect meme coins, but it's not the actual claim. But it does feel like meme coin is right around the corner. A lot of people are speculating that it's going to be on June 9th to make 6.9, right, for the culture. So very exciting if you have been holding Memeland assets. I personally hope that we do hit double-digit ETH prices. That's what I've been waiting for from the beginning. Last but not least, we did have some mints that performed well on Ethereum. The first one is Mahjong, which is a collection that already has a game available to play. It's a gambling game, which is VC backed. It was a free mint and it's currently sitting above 0.4 Ethereum. Luckily, we were able to get 60-ish spots for this one in Gorilla Lab. So congratulations to whoever held all the way to 0.4. We also see some art collections doing really well recently after the Sotheby's auction for 3 Arrows Capital's collection since they went bankrupt, which saw a Tyler Hobbs Fidenza piece sell for $1 million. We also saw the latest Squiggles auction go for like 18 or 19 Ethereum, although the floor on OpenSea is currently broken. It says 14 ETH. It's actually 12 Ethereum. Obviously, people who bid on these, they're hoping to get a rare NFT, but it's still great to see some high prices on art pieces. Now, an art collection that I've been keeping my eye on, if you can call it an art collection, it's also a PFP, is going to be Garbage Friends by Typical Friends. However, they just did this Ooze Friends mint. They minted 250 of them for 0.18, which is high for this market. However, the floor currently sits at 0.6 Ethereum, which isn't surprising as this gets you whitelist for the upcoming Garbage Friends mint. We have no idea when that's going to be. However, it is very hyped. But what I'm personally even more excited about is they announced a small collection with Tony Babel, who I believe I covered his work 2 or 3 times in my art videos. I'm a big fan of his work. I really like the vintage style with the music. So I'm super excited to see how these pieces turn out. So with these art collections doing well, I'm going to be on the lookout for future art collections that I believe can perform really well, and I'll bring them back to you. If we do get that art meta, I'm also going to be looking into art passes who get a lot of whitelist allocations, because these things tend to pump the same way during the Ishcoin season. We see Milady's and Consortium key go up. So these are things you should always be tracking during the different cycles of the meta. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, follow me on Twitter, smash that notification bell. Thank you for watching a Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.